Hey, I'm Joe Bob Briggs, and you're watching Halloween Year Round.
Hi, I'm Dave, founder of Halloween Year Round. I'm joined by my lovely fiancee, Jess. And first, we'd like to wish you a happy Easter and welcome you to the Weekly Dead Talk, our
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter special. So, Easter is a holiday that doesn't really get a whole lot of attention, not just horror movies, but movies in general. How many Easter Bunny movies do you know of? Hop and
Peter Cottontail.
Yeah, that's like about it. Certainly
Yeah,
not like
that's it.
Christmas does. So, similarly, there's not a whole lot of Easter-themed horror movies. So, we kind of had to dig to the bottom of the barrel, and then underneath that to find 2004's Peter Rottentail, a movie that is as ridiculous as it sounds, but I actually kind of liked it.
Yeah, it was okay.
But first, as always, we have our segment Horror in the News, featuring Patrick and me from the past. Thank you, Dave from the future, and looking pretty good, may I say. So I'm here with Patrick, and we are here to do Horror in the News.
How's it going, everyone? Patrick here. So, first up for our Horror in the News segment, we sadly have a very sad story to report with the passing of Gilbert Godfrey at the age of 67. He was primarily known for comedy, doing a bunch of various films such as Problem Child, Aladdin.
We all know him as Iago. I think.
Oh yeah, of course, absolutely.
I think for our generation that was sort of what we grew up with, but so much more than that too.
Oh, absolutely. And actually, some things that I started digging when I was doing some research in terms of his film background, he was also in an episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? The episode The Tale of Station 109.1, in which he played a stuffy maitre d at the gates of death itself.
I think I remember that one.
Yeah, I had
this weird, like deja vu flashback now that you're talking about.
Yeah, like one of the brothers is mistaken for another guy as a guy who's supposed to be dead, and Gilbert Godfrey's basically saying, "Okay, kid, get on in." And the other brother's like, no, that's my brother, and he's like, you're not on the list.
He was also in the short-lived Critters TV show, I remember.
Yes, Critters, the new binge.
For those, 10 people that watched that.
Yeah. Also, very interestingly enough, Gilbert Godfrey was a very huge fan of horror. He loved the various Universal monster classics. For example, he actually has he owned a face printing of Lon Chaney Jr. as well as a signed autograph of Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman, and was also a very big fan of Svengoolie, and actually was on several episodes of Svengoolie where he would do various comedy bits for him, and it was just always wonderful to see. So, we are very saddened about this news, and we wish Gilbert's family the very best in this very sad time, and thank you for all the laughs, Gilbert.
He was the comedian that wasn't afraid of anything.
Absolutely.
His stand-up was certainly... it was edgier than some people liked. I loved it.
I enjoyed it. I just enjoyed the freedom of expression. Actually, one of my favorite bits is still him with Hollywood Squares, in which every time they got the wrong answer, he would yell out, "You fool!"
Very Gilbert Godfrey. For me, I just gotta say, the funniest thing ever, the College Humor video of him doing the audiobook of 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh my
will
goodness.
Always be my favorite thing he's ever done. So, rest
Legendary.
in peace, Gilbert. You left us a legacy.
Thank you, Gilbert.
So, in more upbeat and exciting news, We have a new poster for Halloween Ends, and we have a quote from Jamie Lee Curtis that fans will be very angry, which I didn't know they could be more angry after Halloween Kills.
I haven't watched Halloween Kills yet. I am still planning to, in preparation for Halloween Ends later this year. I did see Halloween 2018. I did overall enjoy it. It was an interesting requel, and a very unique take on Jamie Lee. Is it Jamie Lee's character? Is a character is it Laurie Strode? So I'm really hoping that. I mean, I don't know like how they could really anger fans other than I guess like revealing his face or saying or maybe something again with the whole he was part of some weird cult that
It
brainwashed him or
might go
something.
supernatural. That's what a lot of people are thinking. A lot of people are saying
Mm.
that he might talk, or
Oh
that
yeah, yeah.
he might like die a final death. Which is that even a thing in horror? I don't know. Or she's just drumming up publicity for it too. Like it could just be that. So
Yeah.
we'll
Or is it
see. I think we
yeah.
can all agree that we're very very interested to see what comes out of Halloween Ends.
Yeah. Unless of course like it's the whole brother sister connection again, which once again is possible. You never know. But one thing that is definitely possible and is going to happen is the 100th episode of The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs coming out on April 29th, and I am very
I
excited.
can now. It's going to be the 100th episode. We just met Joe Bob and Darcy at a convention. They said that it's going to be a great episode. They got a lot of really cool stuff planned, and I think I speak on behalf of all Shudder and Joe Bob fans that I can't wait to see it.
Same here, man. I mean, like I said, I was introduced to Joe Bob via my uncle John, back in the day with Monster Vision, and of course learning that he was going to do the last drive-in as like his final like last hurrah, but it was just so successful that Shudder's like, hey, could you keep this show going? Is it and
The
yeah,
drive-in will never die.
that's
It's
right,
in the tagline.
that's right, and it's just plain awesome. So yeah, I'm very very happy to hear that. So yeah, looking forward to it.
We
What else you
also
got for us?
so this was kind of so I have a bit of a confession to make. This next piece of news kind of broke the internet this week that we are getting a Spirit Halloween movie starring Christopher Lloyd. Not much is known other than it sounds like they're kind of going for more of like a kid-friendly vibe, like a kind of like Goosebumps type vibe with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I've actually heard some whispers on the internet about this for the last few months. Just that they're shooting it down in Georgia. They've built a Spirit Halloween store down in Georgia, in the winter and spring, and they're filming. So I kind of heard rumors about it, and then when it was all confirmed this week, and then I knew nothing about Christopher Lloyd being involved. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm a former Spirit Halloween employee myself. I loved working there. It is the coolest store in the world. I wish it was open year round. And honestly, there's just the amount of lore and mythos you have from that store. You could do a whole franchise of movies from it. You could do stuff set in the store where like the animatronics come to life. You could focus each animatronic has its own little story on the back. Like if you buy it or on the back of the box, each one of those someone comes up with a whole story for it.
Hmm.
So you could even have like a cool anthology series, like a Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark, about like the story of each one of them.
Oh, that is very intriguing, I have to say. Yeah, I never really thought much about it myself. I mean, I've just always known how as a Spirit Halloween is just like one of the big mega chain stores that would come around August and then leave a little after November. But wow, like that's something even
Now,
I didn't know about.
they pride themselves on what they call the in-store experience, that they are not just
Hmm.
some pop-up shop, that they are an experience first and foremost, and working there was a lot of fun. I always made it a point every year to scare every single one of my coworkers, to get each one of them. And some of them it was tougher than others. Some of them I'd be like, it would take me weeks of like hiding behind stuff and jumping out, and they'd be like, "You didn't scare me." But eventually, I would get every single one of them.
Nice. Very, very nice. So yeah, I'm now very intrigued myself, and
And
yeah,
it's, I
hopefully
believe
it'll be
it's
a
due
good
out this
story.
year, so we'll see it.
Yeah, definitely looking. Definitely we'll check that one out too. I especially love like good, goofy, scary as I find like a Goosebumps as a
Hmm.
kind of style, which is something I'm always
It
a,
seems like
a
that's the
fan of.
vibe of it, yeah.
And speaking of that kind of same vibe and as a feeling, uh, Casper uh, is going to have a live action series coming to Peacock, which is very interesting because I remember watching the '90s Casper myself, and I really enjoyed it, especially like when I was a kid,
It's,
and having a chance to rewatch it like a year or two ago, I'm like, wow, like it still actually holds up surprisingly well even after all this time.
it's good for what it is. I think
Yeah,
I liked it better as a kid. I hope the CGI is better, but I try not to hold that against it. It was like 1995.
yeah.
But I'm equally curious and interested in this. I'm a huge, being a parent myself, I am
Hmm.
always in favor of kind of horror content that is kid friendly or aimed at kids as sort of a way to get them into horror, get them into spooky stuff,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
start them off with stuff like Casper, and so that they grow up to move on to the kind of like the more intense stuff. But it's a show that I'll probably watch with my daughters, and maybe we'll do like a video of us watching it together or something.
That'd be really cool. I would love to see that. That'd be awesome. And yeah, I'll definitely check it out too. And fingers crossed that it will also be just good, goofy, scary fun.
Mm-hmm. So, in other TV related news that is not fun, Frank Langella has been let go from Mike Flanagan's House of Usher series over on Netflix.
Ooh,
They were
wow.
shooting, I think they said they were about halfway done, and he was fired for what they're citing as inappropriate conduct slash harassment slash like verbal statements he made towards other cast member or cast members.
Mm,
Um, Not much is known at this time. They're not really saying much. I don't want to speculate too much, just because we don't know everything yet, other than just they made the decision to fire him. So I don't know what the specifics were. But
mm,
I have to, for them to do it in the middle of production and
mm,
now have to recast him and go back and reshoot all his scenes, that is quite the task. That was a decision made by Mike Flanagan, made by the higher ups, at Netflix. There's a lot of money involved, so whatever it was, I really like Frank Langella as an actor, and it it kind of bothers me. I don't know. I want to learn more about the situation, but um, he will not be playing Roderick Usher in the new series.
Oh, that is very shocking and also very sadly disappointing, especially for fans of the actor. So, yeah, like it's kind of a shame that that's what ended up happening.
Hmm.
As for me personally, like I, I'll be honest, like I didn't even know about this series until we had talked about it earlier. So it is interesting because like it's an excellent Edgar Allan Poe story.
Hmm.
Of course, Fall of the House of Usher, ironically enough, was also an excellent as a film story as a starring one of my favorite actors, Vincent Price, which of course I have in my collection right here. Let's see, yep, Fall of the House of Usher for Volume One.
He didn't even plan that. It was just literally right there.
Yeah, I know. Is a my movie crypt.
So yeah, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I don't want to really speculate too much on the specifics because at this time we don't know. I want to wait for that to come out, but it is just, it's shocking. It's disappointing. You know, as a fan of his, you don't want to think that someone you like could do something, and you know, we'll find out together. But I wish the production the best. Huge fan of Mike Flanagan. He's done excellent work for Netflix before. You know, with Haunting of Hill House, Bly Manor, Midnight Mass. So we'll see, but we're probably going to be delayed at this point. Whatever date they had set to premiere, I imagine having to go back and reshoot is going to probably push it back a bit.
Absolutely, and we'll definitely keep you all posted on that as news stories develop from it. Because we don't want to just jump at it. We want to be able to just see the story develop and give a fair and as an honest take on what's going on. So hopefully everything will be all right. However, though, we do have another sad news story to report as well, in which we have the passing of Kathy Lampkin at the age of 74 due to illness. She was best known as playing the Tea Lady in 2003's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake and reprising the role in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning.
Very underrated duo of remakes. And, I know she was certainly a part of that, and it's just, it's sad.
Yeah, it is. It always is, especially when you have an older actor being in various horror films passing away. So we also wish her family the best as well.
On a brighter note, we just got a full trailer finally for Stranger Things Season 4. And, wow.
Yeah.
Between the Journey song, which I was jamming to while I was watching it.
Same here.
And just the whole, we're really going into the Upside Down now. We've got new creatures. We've got this one dude that looks like an orc, but I'm told he's a much more important creature than that.
Yeah, I can actually fill in a little detail on that one. So the big bad for this season is named Vecna. From Dungeons and Dragons lore, he is one of the most powerful villains in the game series. From my research, he originally was a very powerful wizard who transcended death to become an undead being.
My kind of guy.
Yeah. And is it?
Well, they gotta keep upping. I mean,
oh yeah, of course.
The first season, it was just literally a Demogorgon.
Yes.
And then it was the army
also a creature from the lore of the game.
And then it was the Mind Flayer. So you have to keep upping.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Until,
and
they fight the devil himself in season 5, maybe.
Right. Yeah, that's true. Although I'm not gonna lie though, speaking as you said, a very powerful entity. What better actor to play him than Robert Englund himself? Yeah, that's who it is. It's Robert Englund, and when I learned that, I was just blown away. Wow. So you have a legendary actor in horror,
Freddy Krueger himself.
Yeah, Freddy Krueger himself coming in to play this ultra powerful being that's literally trying to merge both the world of the Upside Down into the real world, into our current world. So it's going to be epic, and I mean it's so epic that it's already a two-parter. So
it's so epic that the kids look like they're 30 now because people age and it freaks me out.
Yeah, it's called the March of Time, my friend.
I know.
Goodness. So, we also have a report that Dee Wallace has joined the new Monsters film cast. In a very surprising twist.
I don't know that it's surprising. She's been in the last few Rob Zombie movies.
Well, I mean, it's surprising for me because, like I said, I don't watch as many Rob Zombie movies as you, and And recently I just acquired the Howling, so it was just really cool to learn that.
Oh
So
yeah, she's she was in Three from Hell. She played Laurie's mom, adopted mom in his Halloween. She was in Lords of Salem. I was watching I was listening to a podcast called She Kills on Shudder, and she said that he's actually one of her favorite directors to work with.
oh wow,
That
very
he's
cool.
just very down to earth, very collaborative, zero ego.
Well, that's good.
And
That's very
it,
good.
it, it is cool to see that she'll be in the Munsters.
Awesome. So yeah, looking forward to whatever role she will be cast in.
A lot of that's in secrecy right now. They're not saying like who's who, and I like that. I want to go in and
Yeah, I
be
want to be
surprised.
surprised myself. Yeah, I want to be surprised too.
Another thing that's not all that surprising, David Cronenberg has a new movie coming out, Crimes of the Future. We just got a teaser trailer, and it is exactly as weird and bizarre as I think you'd expect from a guy who made a movie about a guy's head exploding on the news.
Yeah. Or a man literally becoming a fly human hybrid with his skin slowly peeling off, and that's still just as gruesome like today as
Those
it was back
effects
then.
hold up. I think
Yeah,
Cronenberg does not get enough. He's up there with your Carpenter, with your
hmm
Wes Craven. Just his
Oh
amount
yes.
of movies, and even like in recent years. I say recent meaning like the 2000s because I'm old, but
hmm
even stuff like History of Violence or Eastern Promises, great movies.
Indeed. And as we all know, long live the new flesh.
Videodrome remains to this day probably the weirdest thing. I still don't know what it's about, and I've watched it like 3 times. Like it's like if Acid were a movie, it would be Videodrome.
Yeah, indeed. But I have to say though, the trailer was very intriguing. Just enough to basically make you say like, what is going on here? Like for every several seconds,
hmm
especially that one guy with the eyes sewn and the mouth sewn and the two ears on the head. I'm like, what is
I
this?
mean,
This is
Cronenberg,
crazy.
he's the king of body horror. No
Yeah,
no one does it quite like him, and it's really cool to see that all these decades later he's still doing it and doing it very well.
indeed, indeed. So yeah, hopefully it will be just as incredible and just as insane as the trailers are making it out to be. So yeah, fingers crossed that we're going to get another horror classic from this. And speaking of other various horror projects, our final news segment, a new Kickstarter board game called The Dark Quarter has been launched recently. Set in 1981's New Orleans, it's a detective story that involves voodoo, the
Ooh.
supernatural, and horror.
Well, color me intrigued.
Why, indeed,
Down on the
indeed, my good sir.
bayou.
Why, indeed, my good sir.
No, that sounds really cool. I love the
Yeah, absolutely,
creativity behind horror games. We'll certainly put a link in the description if you want to check that out and if you
absolutely.
want to support it. So I
hmm
think that is it for news stories this week. So thank you, and back
You're welcome.
to me from the future, from me from the past. All right, thank you, Patrick, and me from the past. Time travel is fun via
Yeah.
editing. So let's talk about this Peter Rottentail movie. Like, where to even? So it
I literally said, "Isn't this a high school production?"
it's from 2004, and it looks like it was shot on like mini DV, like the same type of stuff that I was shooting on in my high school video class.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the point of it, and I did some more digging into it, and the people who made it, it was a set of twin brothers. The one sadly died, but it was kind of their whole business making these ultra low budget, kind of
Like,
intentionally bad movies. So
yeah.
with that in mind, how can you not love the charm of it? Like,
Yeah.
just how cheesy it is. So, we begin with a magician at a kid's party, at like the weirdest kids party ever. Cause
Like there was literally like 2 kids.
there's 2 kids
It was
because
weird.
they couldn't afford a whole party.
Right.
And they're just like dicks to him.
Yo, they're like so mean.
And
this
then
magician.
like he tries to like kill himself, and then he does, but not before he meets this weird guy with a bad Jamaican accent.
Yeah, which was going in and out. By the way.
This movie has a weird obsession with white guys doing bad Jamaican accents.
It did.
Like an unusual obsession.
It's kind of like when I try to do an accent, and the only accent that ever
She
comes
can't.
out is Transylvanian.
She can't do all. She just.
And I'm like, no, I'm being Italian. You're like, no, you're Transylvanian.
She sounds like Dracula.
I literally just could sound
That's
like
her
Dracula.
only accent. Is
That's
just
it.
Dracula.
So maybe they think they're doing a different accent, and it's just coming out Jamaican.
Maybe.
Like me.
Maybe. But so then, of course, our villain Peter comes back as Peter Rottentail, a
Yes.
giant bunny who
dresses like, yeah, bunny.
I think the bunny costume was probably the most expensive thing in the movie.
And even that
It looked like something they probably got at like Party City.
for maybe $20.
They're more expensive than that.
Okay, but this one was
You
like
ever worked?
crappy.
You ever worked at Party City? I've worked
You worked at
at an unnamed store,
not Party City.
but they're not always the highest quality.
Okay, true. Like their prices are like up here, but their quality is like down
Well,
here.
to be fair, some of those costumes are very elaborate, and to do those things right would be insanely expensive. Like,
Okay,
you're not gonna.
but it could have been a better Easter costume.
Well, maybe that was part of the charm. So
Maybe
the 2 kids from the party at the beginning, they're cousins.
they're now
who-
grown.
They're grown up now, and they call each other cuz way more than cousins actually should or do. Do you ever call your cousins cuz? I find that weird.
Maybe like every once in a while,
But not like
but not like every day.
not in
An
conversation.
everyday conversation.
Hey, cuz, how's it going today? Well, cuz, I did this. Like
yeah,
that's
that was
literally
like what they were doing.
like the movie is afraid you're gonna forget their cousins, but they're not. But you won't.
They are cousins.
They are.
Don't say they're not.
I don't know.
They are
It's-
cousins.
Yes.
Well, they're supposed to be at least.
So Peter Rottentail goes around and he's like doing one-liners. He's doing this weird, annoying bounce sound.
Oh my God.
When
The bounce of hell.
boing, boing.
Heck.
Like, and that's kind of my point, is that you don't make a movie like this bad, without it being intentional. Unless you're Tommy Wiseau. And that's a whole other...
It's a whole nother story.
Oh, hi, kids. Happy Easter.
Oh, hi, Mark.
I would pay to see a Tommy Wiseau movie where he's a giant Easter bunny killing people.
That would be hilarious.
I'd actually pay to see a slasher movie with him as the villain.
Yes.
That would be... Please,
He
Tommy
would be a
Wiseau,
good
if you're
villain.
watching this, please do that. Cause
You would be a good villain. Like, legit.
It would be hilarious.
Legitimately.
So he's like killing people with carrots, in like these really weird effects. I will say, to the movie's credit, when he kills people with a cleaver, it's actually a decent effect.
Yeah.
The way that it gets like in their head, and I think it's that they probably had some sort of like prop cleaver that actually would like retract
Yeah.
and put in somebody's head, which you can get stuff like that for like theater productions. A lot of them will use that, like a retractable knife
Yeah.
or something. So that was actually kind of cool. So he's just kind of
Yeah,
going
some
around.
of the kills were, alright.
He's just going around killing people. I don't really know what else to say. It's just, it's one of those movies. I knew going into this, like, oh, let's find a good Easter horror movie.
A good one?
Well, but like I said, that's kind of the charm to it. Is
Fair. Yeah.
the whole time I'm watching it, yes, part of me is thinking like, oh, the effects are bad. It's very low budget.
The lines.
Some
Some of the lines.
the acting's very awkward. But the more I thought about it, the more I watched it.
And then you did the research.
Well, yeah, that, but just like the longer I watched it, the more it started to feel like this was a movie made by a group of friends just having fun. And it made me realize that, like, seeing the movie itself and trying to treat it like an actual, like, movie, I'm probably watching it wrong. But watching it kind of gave me a sense of, like, I've been on productions like that.
Yeah.
You know, it reminded me of a time when, you know, you're just hanging out with your friends and you're like, hey, let's make a movie. And you don't care if it's good. You don't care, you know, that's not the point at all.
You're just having fun.
Yeah.
And it's clear that they had fun making this movie.
It seemed like they had a blast doing it. And, like, who wouldn't want to go around in a big bunny suit killing people?
Right.
You know?
I would do that.
Small disclaimer, this movie has nothing to do with Easter.
Not really, other than the fact that, like, he's in a bunny suit.
Even at the beginning of the movie, there's, like, an establishing shot of the house where the birthday party with only 2 kids is. I'm pretty sure those are, like, Thanksgiving decorations that are outside.
You know, I didn't even notice.
There's like, a shot of the house.
I was just thinking that is very reminiscent of my 13th birthday.
Oh, well, that's sad.
Like, one kid came.
Well, did you harass any magicians at the party?
No, it was at a bowling alley.
Oh.
And one of my friends came. That was it. So my mom called, like, all my aunts and made them come.
Made them come?
To fill out, like, the table.
Well, that was very nice of her and them to do that.
Yeah. But, like, their party reminded me of that. Because there was, like, 2 kids.
Oh. So did this movie bring up painful childhood trauma for you?
A little bit. A little bit.
So you're telling me that in addition to, like, the bad dialogue, bad writing, bad effects, like, that was just the cherry on top. Like, hey, here's a painful reminder of the past.
Yeah.
So overall, what would you say about Peter?
PTSD.
What would you say about Peter Rottentail?
It was alright.
It was alright. Would you watch it again?
I mean, maybe.
That's not a no.
Like,
so,
like, but now, like, with the knowledge that it's, like, just a group of friends, like, just having fun.
I would watch it again in the context of showing it to somebody. Like, oh, you gotta see this movie.
Or
and
yeah.
I would be more like watching their reaction.
Yeah.
And laughing at that. So, Peter Rottentail, it's streaming on Tubi if you're interested in watching something semi-Eastery this Easter.
Barely.
And unless we have anything else to say about the movie, I think it's time to go to Patrick with Movies from the Crypt.
There we go.
Thank you, Dave. Always good to hear of a killer bunny as a rabbit story. Although this was a fluffy cottontail here is chilling in my lovely movie crypt lair, as I bring to you some tasty, delicious physical media digs that we call Movies from the Crypt. So, up first we got the 2011 as a film, The Cabin in the Woods, released from Lionsgate, which is still on track for coming next week for April 19th. The Best Buy exclusive 4K Steelbook will be still readily available for purchase. Next, and this one I had a wonderful time watching, the 1962 Hammer horror classic, Night Creatures. Released from Screen Factory, is coming out on April 19th, but for those who happened to pre-order it a little earlier, like myself, got the advanced copy, and a beautiful 18 by 24 poster of said film, which I will be having a quick display. I have to say, I just love the poster, and Peter Cushing in the role was just phenomenal. Absolutely love it. One of my personal faves, and one that I definitely would like to talk a little bit more about in the near future. Also coming up next is Dog Soldiers, which sadly has been delayed recently. Originally, it was slated for June the 24th. However, currently it has been delayed. There's been no exact reason as to why, but we'll keep you posted on when that will be. Next is the 2017 series, The Sinner, the complete series collection from Universal Pictures, slated to come out on May 24th. So that is expect some good horror goodness on that date. We also have a 1976 horror film, God Told Me To, from the good people at Blue Underground, coming out on July 19th. It is a brand new 4K restoration of the original uncensored negative with Dolby Vision HDR and Dolby Atmos audio support, which is always cool. We also have Love and Human Remains from 1993, being released from Sony Pictures, coming out on June 14th. We also have the 2021 new horror classic, The Sadness, being released from Raven Banner. It has just been announced with some nice features such as director commentary and interviews. However, though, as for an official release date, we're still the jury's still hung out on that one. So I'll have to recruit another one of my skeletal interns to let me know about that. Also, a little bit of an update on the movie X, one of our personal favorites from 2022, that has been being distributed by A24. It is still on track for May the 24th of this year. However, though, it is only going to be the 1080p Blu-ray release of it. There is no planned 4K version of the film at this time, which is a shame for those who love 4K. But at least we're still getting it released physically, so that should at least be good news for those. You may be right. Hey, wait, who said that? What is it? Oh, it must be my friend Dave from the future. But you never know. Criterion could always do a 4K release of it down the road, or another distributor, maybe even Arrow Films, or even Screen Factory. You never know, because Screen Factory's been releasing quite a few 4K classics. So just stay tuned with us. Up next, we have the Blancheville Horror. The Blancheville Monster, aka Horror, an Edgar Allan Poe story, currently being teased for release from the good people at Arrow Films. The movie is from 1963. Always cool to see some more 60s love for horror, and we'll definitely keep you posted on when that will be officially released. And for our last segment, we have the Conjuring Universe 7-film collection from Warner Brothers, which is slated to come out on May the 31st of this year. So thank you very much for joining me, all you horror hounds and media monsters out there. This is your pal, the movie. Is it Pat the Movie Keeper, saying you all to keep watching horror films and to keep America strong. Back to you, Dave.
Thank you, Patrick. Those all sound really, really cool. I'm especially excited for the Conjuring one. I'm a huge fan of the Conjuring franchise, and having a complete set of all of them together. I've never seen that before, but does that mean they're done with that universe? Who knows?
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. As you can see, during our break, while Patrick was doing his movies from the crypt, Lily decided to wake up, and then she decided to kind of fall back asleep. She just wanted to be in the video. Hi, Lily. Happy Easter. We're talking about a giant bunny.
She doesn't like the light.
Come here. Come here. Come here. All right. Well, as always, like, share, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff. If you don't, you may get killed by a giant rabbit with bad puns.
Yes.
And a retractable meat cleaver.
She agrees.
She agrees. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming to our weekly Dead Talk. And every day is Halloween. Or every day is
Halloween.
Easter. It's
Oh.
Happy Easter. Thanks for watching.
Happy Easter. Happy Easter.
Say bye, Lily. Bye.
We're matching.